With every dive, we are struck by the extraordinary biodiversity of the oceans. The goal of this mission is to document this biodiversity and appreciate its astonishing beauty. But we are also seeing the fragility of the balance between species. Unfortunately, we are in the process of quickly destroying what nature has taken millions of years to perfect and adapt.
The extraordinary diversity of life on Earth is expressed in a variety of shapes and colors. The result of slow evolution, plant and animal species interact in equilibrium to form the great tree of life. Present in our waters for probably more than 400 million years, sharks are valuable predators that contribute to the vital balance of the oceans. However, nearly a third of the 64 species of sharks and rays in the world are now threatened with extinction, mainly due to overfishing. And they are not alone in this unenviable list of humanity's victims. Sea turtles have likely inhabited the oceans for over 100 million years. Of the Earth's 7 species of sea turtles, 6 are on the red list of species that are threatened or vulnerable. Among the oldest creatures of the sea, turtles have survived all of the natural disasters in Earth's history. But today, they are threatened by pollution, poaching, loss of critical habitat, and accidental entrapment in commercial fishing gear. In the space of just a few decades, humanity has managed to endanger the world's sea turtles, species that have withstood every other assault in the Earth's past. Fortunately, scientists all over the world are organizing to develop effective protection and conservation measures.
We headed to Kokos Island, famous for its pirate legends and the hidden treasure from Spanish ships that is said to be buried here. It's why we also call it Treasure Island. But for scientists, the real treasure is found in its exceptional biodiversity.
Located off the coast of Costa Rica in the Pacific Ocean, Kokos Island is a veritable paradise for divers and scientists. Known for its abundance of sharks and turtles, Kokos Island is home to a remarkable diversity of marine life. In these crystalline waters, the crew of the Sedna 4 were able to capture their first turtle, a real challenge for the divers. This green turtle will become part of a large research program to determine the migratory route of the species.
The power of a green turtle's flippers is truly amazing. They are excellent swimmers, and their evolution has produced a huge muscle mass around the flipper joints. Obviously, this makes catching one a difficult operation.
This feisty male is refusing to cooperate, but the scientists have met his kind before. This turtle will be equipped with acoustic and satellite transmitters, which will help us better understand the migratory routes used by the species.
Once we got the turtle aboard the inflatable boat, we brought it to the Sedna 4, where a team of biologists was waiting. We have a special lift for large animals, so we lowered it into the Sedna's workshop, where biologists could attach the various transmitters. We invited 2 eminent turtle specialists on this trip to Kokos Island. They often work in this region of the Pacific. These biologists became activists out of necessity because they firmly believe that taking real action in the field is the only way to change things.
Oh, let me see. Is there any 4062 there? No.
Biologist Randall Arouse has devoted much of his life to the protection of sea turtles. He is accompanied by Todd Steiner, a biologist with the Sea Turtle Restoration Project, an organization dedicated to the conservation of sea turtles and their habitat. Todd and Randall organize yearly scientific expeditions to Kokos Island to monitor turtle and shark populations.
Okay. Okay, we hold it here.
Okay, so take the measurements and then you do the tagging and I'll tag her. And you can tag her and I'll...
Yeah.
Okay, so hold her there, Cheapo.
Okay.
Okay, put this right there where the skin starts and the shell ends, or like right there, okay.
74 and a half.
Yeah, 74 and a half, yeah, let's say 74 and a half. And width?
What do you got?
72.
72. This is the first time we've caught this turtle. Hasn't been marked before. We're putting a tag on now, permanent tag.
Okay.
Check the lock.
Check. Perfect. PE 312.
Where are you going to do it?
Same place. Wait. Okay, it's locked. PE 313.
This is an acoustic tag, and these are the same tags we use for the sharks. And since we already have a system of listening stations around the island for the sharks, then we use the same system for the turtles. Okay. Okay. We've had turtles with the tag on for over a year, sometimes a few months. And so sometimes it seems like they're pretty permanently in there with cables and everything, but they do fall off.
In the old days of sailors, couldn't keep fresh meat on board for very long, so they would stop at islands like this, grab turtles, put them on their back, and they could last for months. Come down once a week, just pour some water on it to keep it from drying out, and then they could use the meat as they needed. So turtles played a major role in the exploration of the world.
Okay.
The green turtles of the Caribbean that people are more familiar with are purely vegetarians. They eat turtle grass, which is an algae. So they grow very slowly. This satellite transmitter will send a signal up to a satellite up in space, and then that will send the signal to my computer, and I'll know right where this turtle is every day. We're trying to understand what the migration routes are. So when this turtle's here at Kokos Island, it's protected because there's a 12 nautical mile no fishing zone. As soon as it swims out of that, we don't know. It could get caught on a fishing line and be killed. So our goal is to understand where these turtles go and then create marine protected swimways. So if they're swimming to Galapagos, we want to connect their swimways. We want to understand their migration routes and be able to protect them by closing fishing areas. So as you're doing that, we want to try to keep it kind of as hydrodynamic as we can. We've had turtles go as far as Panama. We've had turtles go to Costa Rica. We've had turtles go to Costa Rica and then swim up the shore all the way to El Salvador and then head back out to sea. And a lot of our turtles like it in Kokos and stay right around here.
The juveniles, or the young ones, they definitely stay here for a number of years. For instance, we have turtles that we tagged here 2.5 years ago, and they're still there in Dirty Rock, for instance. So the young turtles live here, and the adults just swing by, and then they take off and continue their migration.
There are different policies to protect turtles, for instance, special hooks, circle hooks, which they're less likely to swallow. But the best way is to protect the ecosystem, protect the habitat that they need to live. So if we can close those areas to fishing, then we'll have turtles for our kids to see and our grandkids.
After a few hours, our guest can return to the sea. Randall and Todd check that the transmitters are working so this Pacific green turtle can regain its freedom.
Now we have to be careful with the satellite transmitter. So let's do the...
The transmitters on this green turtle will provide scientists with data on its movements.
Okay. I'm basically, yes, in love with turtles.
This adult male has nothing to fear within Kokos Island National Park, but the protected area extends only about 12 nautical miles around the island. Beyond this border, turtles and other migratory animals of the island risk getting caught up in the baited lines of the long-line boats.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
I think we can say mission accomplished. The data gathered by the satellite transmitter will tell us more about the turtles' movements and may one day be used to establish protective corridors and areas where fishing is banned. But we must continue to raise awareness because there's still a lot of work to do before these essential conservation measures are put in place.
The Sedna heads for the Guanacaste region of Costa Rica. Known for its white sandy beaches, the area attracts tourists from all over the world.
Beaches are an essential habitat for our planet's different species of sea turtle. They have served as egg-laying sites for millions of years, and they are vital for their survival. No beaches, no turtles. It's simple as that. But in recent years, beaches have undergone major changes, due mainly to a population boom of one species in particular, human beings. Not only do we use and transform beaches for recreation, but real estate development is constantly destroying this essential turtle habitat. Once female turtles reach sexual maturity, they return to the very same spot where they hatched to lay their eggs. This may be 15, 20, 30, even up to 40 years later in some species. After all those years, the turtles often return to find the beaches occupied by houses, lights that disorient them at night, or hotel patios. So the turtles often have a hard time laying their eggs safely.
The problems of coexistence between sea turtles and humans are not new. You have to go back well before the arrival of tourists and the Costa Rican real estate boom to understand the origins of the problem, at a time when the beaches were a meeting place for local villagers. They did not come to enjoy the white sand and the waves. In fact, they would come mostly at night when turtles came ashore to lay their eggs. Some Costa Ricans still remember that not-so-distant past, when local traditions contributed greatly to the decline of the turtle population.
What do the leatherback turtles mean to you?
I feel there's something beautiful. They're so natural to me, a part of my life that I would never want to disappear. I remember that when I was young, my dad used to take us to the beach. He would say, "Let's go to the beach to collect eggs."
It was normal to do that.
Yes, but only to eat, never to sell.
It was part of the culture.
Yes.
What was it like with the leatherbacks in those days?
It was beautiful. There were so many of them, so many leatherbacks. It was incredible to see them on the beach at night. Biologists used to say that the leatherbacks would disappear, but we didn't believe them because there were just so many. Every season they'd say that we needed to protect them. And they were right, because we started seeing less and less.
The economic hardships of those days played an important role in the illegal collection of turtle eggs. While the consumption of turtle eggs has long been a family tradition, it is their trade that continues to cause irreparable harm to turtle populations. Poachers can still fetch high prices for turtle eggs, and this threat is not a new phenomenon. One repentant poacher agrees to talk about it.
Those were very hard years for everyone around here. There wasn't much work, and most people dedicated themselves to agriculture and animal farming. There was very little money to be made working the fields and fishing, so people had to find a way to make a little extra to help support their families. And an easy way to make money was by collecting turtle eggs. It was well paid. I also did it. You'd set up a stake and then walk 50 to 100 meters, maybe even more, and then put up another one, which meant that all the turtles within those boundaries were yours. In just one night, around 200 to 300, maybe even 400 leatherback turtles would come. Nowadays, sometimes 1 or 2, maximum 5 come. People would come to the beach, wait until the turtles laid their eggs, and collect them. On your way out, the egg buyer would be waiting on the street. In one night, you could collect 100 to 120 dozen eggs, and in some places more. If I remember correctly, they'd pay 400 colones, sometimes up to 600 per dozen. So as you can see, 100 dozen at 400 colones was good money.
We just met 2 policemen, and of course, I took the time to ask them about the problem. They obviously were reluctant to talk in front of the camera, but what they told me was clearly that there are poachers, especially in the area on the other side of the bay, and people are selling their eggs throughout Ostional. Ostional is a place about 2 hours from here where there are huge beachings of turtles, and there is a big laundering of turtle eggs in Ostional. They say all the eggs come from Ostional, so it's okay to sell them. I'm told that there are bars where for $1 you can have a cold beer with a beautiful turtle egg with Tabasco sauce. They drink it, and it's ecstasy. So the community still has a special relationship with these eggs.
Rodney Piedra Chacon is director of Las Bolas National Park. Rodney and his team will spend the night on a small, isolated beach. Another long night spent protecting turtles from poachers seeking to steal the precious eggs.
Tonight, I'm going to take you to one of the most important beaches for green sea turtles, at least in our country. It's called Nombre de Jesus. It's a very beautiful, undeveloped beach by a forested area. It's a great nesting ground for this species. To protect endangered species like this one, it requires commitment from everyone. We all understand that there are many interests at stake: scientific, community, development, and fishing interests. Nonetheless, it's very important that we find a common goal so we can support each other in this struggle for conservation. Reducing poaching to protect the eggs is an essential factor for conservation.
Is the only way to access the beach?
By vehicle, yes. This is the only route. There's a way to get there by foot, but you have to go over a mountain, so it's difficult to access.
This is tricky. Maybe through the middle. One wheel there, one over here.
Listo. Made it. In our country, there are protected and unprotected areas. At present, this is a very important nesting ground. So to ensure the conservation of this species, we're putting a lot of effort into creating a management strategy for this area. We organize ourselves every night on the beach. One of the first things we do is walk the whole length of the beach together. This way, we can get an overall idea of what is happening on the beach, of whether there are people and turtles or not. The idea is to have some time to calmly analyze the situation. When we find tracks, we stop and follow the trail to see what the turtle is doing, and immediately we all get to work.
Those lights over there, what are they?
The main reason we all come together is so the egg poachers see a big group of conservation workers and know that we're here to back each other. We think they may be egg poachers, so we'll have to be more careful from now on.
We decided to use the night, too, to witness the spectacular sight of green turtles laying their eggs. But in certain areas of Costa Rica, it's not a good idea to walk the beaches alone, because poachers are still very active. So we decided to accompany a team of biologists from Las Bolas National Park in their work to protect egg-laying sites. In recent years, turtle egg poachers have started working with drug traffickers in certain areas of Costa Rica. Poachers can earn up to $300 a night by selling eggs on the black market. The eggs are worth about $1 each on the street. In 2012, a heavily armed group of poachers got into a turtle egg nursery, a place where turtle eggs that have been collected by volunteers are placed until they reach maturity. The volunteers were tied up, and the poachers made off with over 1,500 eggs. The message is clear. Poachers do not want turtle conservationists on their beaches.
We'll start by measuring the length and then width of the shell. You can check on the other side to see if the turtle has a metal mark or tag. If it does, read out the identification number so she can log it.
LO628.
Listo. Escriba ahí. ¿Cuánto? Así, sí. Oh, wow.
I'm going to dig a bit so we can see better. It's a little complicated right now because there are many roots.
Do you want help?
No, that's all right. Today we're going to move the eggs to a different location here on the beach. So you'll be able to see how we move them. If this were a protected area, the nests would remain untouched because there would be 24-hour surveillance.
Normalmente, si es un área protegida, entonces los niños quedan in situ. Entonces tenemos protección.
But at this time, we can't protect the beach 24 hours a day. So we have to move the eggs to a safer location.
How many are there?
There are 56 at the moment.
How long does it take?
She can last 10 to 15 minutes. She's still laying eggs.
Como las baulas tienen, ella tiene el momento que está poniendo los huevos, tiene un momento de...
Is the turtle in a kind of trance as she lays her eggs?
Yes. Actually, all turtles go into a trance-like state in order to be able to shift their muscles to lay their eggs. That's why, when she's done, we have to leave, because she starts moving.
It's very moving. Oh yes, it's amazing that she does all this work. A half hour of preparation, and she closes it up all with great care, and the eggs are not even there. She does not even know that eggs are not there.
What we're going to do now is bury the eggs in another location on the beach. The others at this time are digging the cavity where we'll put the eggs, a spot we consider much safer.
En este sitio que consideramos que es bastante seguro.
How deep will it be?
La idea es que
The idea is that the depth of the nest has to be similar to the depth the turtle gave it,
excavó la tortuga
so between 45 and 50 centimeters.
a 50 centímetros. En este momento,
Once we've reached the right depth,
Luis va
we'll
a hacer
carefully place the eggs into the cavity.
una cantidad adecuada. Vamos a moverlos en el sitio.
What's great is that, for generations, these young people would normally have learned to become poachers. But this is a new generation, and their mentality has changed. It's the young people who are taking things in hand and trying to save the turtles. It's great.
Y posteriormente,
After, we'll place an aluminum tag that will allow us to identify the nest in the next 45 days, when the hatchlings emerge.
días, que es cuando se da la exhumación de los neonatos. Ahora lo que vamos a hacer
Now, we'll bury the nest,
es echar arena en el nido.
and Luis will pack down the sand as best as he can to protect the
La
eggs.
idea es compactar lo más que se pueda para que los huevos
After
queden
that, we will
seguros.
mark the nest in relation to that stake over there.
Vamos a marcarlo con respecto al mojón que está allá.
If the poacher find the little stick,
Ahora lo que hacemos es que esta
What we do now is bury the tag in the sand
vamos a poner sobre
so that when we find it,
la idea es
we
que
can
la
see
marca
from
es
which nest the
sencilla,
hatchlings
cuando lo
emerged
encontremos, podamos
and which
hacer
turtle laid
relación
those
de
eggs.
ese nido con esta hoja. Entonces así yo sé
That's
exactamente
how we can determine what this turtle's hatching success was in regards to this nest and all the nests.
Con respecto a este nido y todos sus nidos.
Of these 82 eggs, how many will make it into the water?
The hatching success last season was between 80 and 90%.
c'est formidable.
It's great to see young people involved in protecting turtles. Their work on the beaches will save many turtles, but will, above all, help change people's mentality. This is essential if we want the new generation to change their ways and condemn poaching. I think the new generation is ready to do everything it can to protect these threatened species.
There aren't many egg poachers left.
¿Qué es lo que cambió?
And then, what has changed?
People's mentality,
de las personas y el
and the fact that Tamarindo has developed into a tourist destination,
porque hay más fuentes.
creating more job opportunities.
¿Y tú qué haces?
What's your job now?
Ahora trabajo
I'm a tour guide.
guía turístico. Después
After
pasamos a
poaching,
ser,
many of us became tourist promoters,
de los cuales
and we learned a bit about the biology of the turtle.
sobre biología de la tortuga.
There are far fewer poachers on the beaches around Guanacaste now, especially since Las Bolas National Park was created. Today, tourists come from all over the world to witness turtles laying their eggs. But poaching is still a serious issue in some areas of Costa Rica, and illegal egg trafficking still threatens the survival of turtle species. If we want to save them from extinction, we must continue to educate people.
Our objective is to maintain the turtle population that nests in the area. And to do that, We need to make sure those eggs are laid and hatched here. We believe that our efforts are essential if we want to preserve such an important and beautiful species.
How do you see the future?
I believe that we're very committed. And we're convinced that we can recover these populations. It's been a very long process trying to educate people. It has required strong commitment. But by the number of people now getting involved, I think Costa Rica is becoming more environmentally conscious and committed. Not just the organizations, but the communities themselves are becoming involved in protecting their resources. They are becoming empowered by making this struggle their own. I think the fact that we're out every night, 6 or 7 hours trying to save these nests, is so very important. I know we might not see the results of our efforts in the short term, maybe not even in our lifetime, but most likely our children will see the results in 20 or 30 years. And they'll know that all the efforts of conservation made by those who started this were worth it, and that they must continue.
Bueno,
¿Vamos a dormir?
Vamos a dormir.
Vamos a dormir.
Vamos.
Por favor.
The magnificent Playa Grande beach in the Guanacaste area is a favorite destination for day tourists. But at the end of the day, the tourists must leave because the beach is now a protected area. After nightfall, no one is allowed on the beach, with the exception of a few biologists and volunteer patrollers. At night, this beach belongs to one of the oldest and most remarkable creatures of the sea, the leatherback turtle. At high tide, this female leatherback turtle comes ashore to lay her eggs, just as others have done before her for millions of years. For over 20 years, the organization, the Leatherback Trust, has protected the turtles of Playa Grande. Biologists James Patilla and Frank Palladino have been part of the organization since its beginning. In all those years, they have fought many battles.
It's an animal which has a flexible shell because it's not hard bone. It's got little bones with cartilage in between. It's got a leathery shell, that's where it gets its name, a skin like a dolphin on the shell and on the flippers. It has a pink spot on the middle of its head, which is where the pineal gland is. It has some signaling for hormones. The skull's only half as thick there. They can dive a mile deep like a whale, so the shell collapses when they do that, gets compressed. And they only eat jellyfish. So they must be our friend. We don't like jellyfish.
She looks to be about 145 centimeters long, probably around 18 to 20 years of age. And she's finished nesting. She's now in the process of early bearing. But you can see how delicately she's using her hands to pat the sand down and to pack it so that the eggs are in a nice location. And then she will start to camouflage and cover all around here.
When we came here, the number of turtles nesting per year was 1,500. And then it declined exponentially, so by big steps. To the present time, there's about maybe 50 nesting a year. But it's bottomed out the last 3 or 4 years, so we think that we're due for a comeback. The new turtles that we see now are as a result of these students and volunteers who are on this beach for 20 years. And so, yeah, those are our turtles who are coming back.
you have an opportunity to see a dinosaur come out of the ocean and do all these very intricate behaviors. And I don't think there's anybody who ever walks away from this beach after seeing this experience that hasn't been awed.
The first time we came on the beaches here, Frank Palladino had to pay the local poacher for permission to work on a turtle after he took the eggs. Then he was okay if we studied the physiology of the turtle. After the park was founded and we got more involved and Frank taught the people English and we taught them some biology, now those poachers all became guides, ecotourism guides, so they make more money, cleaner. Now at this point their children are the guides.
Right now this is a national park. There's national park guards. We have very good protection. There's an occasional poacher, which is usually a stranger who's come into town, and a lot of times they're Nicaraguans that come down here to work on construction of homes and so on, and they want to make some quick money so they can catch a bus and go back home and visit their family. But for the most part, the local people are no longer the poachers. As a matter of fact, whereas before they were against the park, it is the local people who are the strongest supporters of the park.
When we first came here, the people used to be poachers. They hated us. They didn't like us in the local village. Now we're friends. Our students are friends with the young people. And I think it made a big difference. So the people see that these turtles are a benefit to them. I think it's very important.
The relentless work of Frank Palladino, James Spotilla, and countless volunteers is truly inspiring and proves that mentalities can be changed. But in certain areas of Costa Rica, much work remains to be done. For example, in 2013, a 26-year-old biology student named Jairo Mora Sandoval was kidnapped from a beach in Costa Rica along with 4 other patrollers. Drug traffickers and poachers were fed up with turtle protection campaigns and wanted their beaches back. That night, the young biologist was tied up, beaten, and shot in the head. Jairo Mora Sandoval died simply for wanting to protect a threatened species. This tragic story made headlines around the world, and environmental groups responded by offering a reward to find those responsible. The government of Costa Rica has promised an inquiry. The protection of turtles and beaches is often spearheaded by the work of passionate people and volunteers who come from around the world to get involved. Unfortunately, the weapons of poachers everywhere are often intimidation and violence. We must continue to highlight and support protection efforts and encourage volunteers to patrol the beaches in order to change people's mentality. This is probably the only true hope for the future.
Les changements de mentalité qui constituent probablement le seul véritable espoir pour demain.